discussion.
I run one of the smaller societies. We run a lot of public open events, one of the biggest ones being the Anime Convention. We spent, so far in this financial year, about $7,000 on venue hire fees for the university alone. We are fundamentally a small society. This is a huge cost on us. Is anything going to be done to actually lower the fees through this, or are we just still going to be stuck with something?
I can start this first by saying you'll be pleased to know that in the submission that we made was for asking for money for clubs and societies to host conventions such as the anime conventions, and for sports clubs to host university games, events and such as that on campus. What we also, in the recent conversations that we've had with the Commercial Services Department, to Jacinta Young, was possibly more funding coming possibly through the TUU to pay for clubs and societies for their venue hire and so on. So that is definitely on the table to make sure that clubs and societies don't get ripped off in the whole process. I might take one more question because
you got two.
Actually, I might come back.
Hello, I'm an international student. I'm also a member of the university tennis team. We went to the 2011 university game. My question is very simple. Just I asked you if you can give students like us more support, like more money or anything else to the people who attend the university game, like this event, because we are the player, we are the representative for the university.
I'm trying to answer that as carefully as I can. Firstly, the SSAF can be spent. That is one of the, for sporting and recreational activities, it's one of the areas of possibility for the SSAF. Secondly, Saleh has already outlined some of the discussions that have been going on around the way in which we can support clubs and societies. And for, if you like, the student experience and for campus-based, a vibrant culture on campus, it's quite clear that we need both sporting and other cultural facilities in the societies. But at this point, on this day, it is very difficult for me to say that the SSAF will be spent on a particular club or society or a particular class of activity. Because that is exactly the process of analysing the results and discussions with the TUU, and it's in the TUU submission that we will come to that view. But clearly, it's possible within the legislation, it's probable in the sense of the area that the UTAS new strategic plan is talking about, the vibrancy of the campus. So we will be looking at it, but it's very difficult to put a guarantee on any particular item at this moment in time, because to do that would be to actually pick it out of the consultation process and ring fence it. We've not done that for anything.
So when the results are analysed and everything, how's that going to be advertised to the campus, and what opportunity will there be to follow up with the students?
Obviously, from our perspective, is we're going to take this back to the students and send them the outcomes of the results and get feedback across the state, and obviously the Sydney campus as well, and then bring that feedback back to the discussion table.
Is there a particular channel to be on that?
Facebook.
So the money won't be spent until the whole consultation process is complete, or?
Well, what do you mean by spent? The money won't be collected until August, isn't it? 1st of August. So we're not going to be spending it before then anyway. And then, of course, it depends on what's come out and how quickly we can actually channel the money into the area.
I'll take one last question. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, did you say that you were going to conduct another survey at the end of the year?
No.
For next year? Okay.
No, like I said, we were
considering it?
Consider it.
There's just one thing on the survey that I did complete myself.
international students aren't paying the fee this semester, but there were options for support to be given to international students based on the SSAF fee. So surely next year it should be like concurrent with everybody, and everybody should contribute, and there should be money spent on everyone, obviously. But if it's students that aren't internationally based that are spending the money, shouldn't it be for those students? I mean, I know that there should be services and amendments for international students. I think that's really important. But should the funding be dipped out of the funds supplied by non-international students?
Okay. Two responses. We could not get the international students into the process for the second semester because of essentially legal requirements in relation to the process by which we advertise fees to international. But I think it's also fair to say that we do want to see a simple and equitable fee that applies to all students, and that will be the 2013 position. But it's also true, if you look at the process, and I think someone else raised this point, that international student fees, although they're variable, are on the whole higher than domestic. So to a certain extent, there is already that contribution into the kind of structures that support students.
Yeah, I think we might close it because David's going to go.
So can I ask you 3 questions? There are no quite short answers for you. I'll just let you in because I typically come to these sessions and take up a lot of time, and I didn't want to do that. They're all for Professor Sadler. Sorry, I know, I'm sure you're very busy. I promise they're very quick. In the Higher Education Support Act, there's no obligation on the university to take into consideration any consultation it does with students before it allocates the money, is there?
We have adopted an approach which we, through what our understanding of the Higher Education Support Act is the kind of expectation of consultation.
But it requires consultation, it doesn't require you to act in accordance with the results of the consultation.
No, we are, that's technically correct.
Okay. My second question is, I understand that your consultation process isn't finished, so you can't say exactly how the money will be spent. And the parameters for how the money is spent is also set by the section of the Higher Education Support Act. My question though is, presumably some of this money will go to the union, because under that act you can outsource to third parties money to be spent for those purposes. Last year the university bought a range of the union's assets. One of the sets of assets is to do with accommodation, another is to do with provision of food and beverages. These are 2 of the things that the university can allocate staff money for under the Act. I'm wondering, did the university acquire these assets so that the union could no longer administer them, so the university could argue that it didn't have such a case to distribute such a greater amount of money to the union from the staff fees?
Well, absolutely not. Secondly,
what's the point? Why did the university acquire them?
I think you've gone way beyond the discussion that we're here for.
If the discussion about what the SAF is to be spent on, this is something you can spend on.
You're technically correct that the SAF can be part of the processes of providing food or drink or accommodation. But you've actually linked 2 completely separate items that have different sources. We have undergone the survey in good faith.
I'm not suggesting bad faith. I'm just suggesting that when those assets were acquired, there's no consultation with students about why they were acquired. And I'm putting to you that they were acquired from our university to spend
and I'm saying that is completely wrong.
Then why were they acquired? That answer is wrong. There must be some other answer that's correct. What is the correct answer? That's not an answer at all.
I would say I think you've gone beyond what we're here to discuss, which is the student service.
I think that frankly that's how it played out. That's no answer at all. I'm sorry. That's not an answer.
Weren't they quick questions?
I said questions require quick answers.
I just have a few questions that popped up on the Twitter feed. One of them was, will students get a breakdown of how sacrifices at the beginning of the semester?
If there's any more questions, please just talk to David and...
It's kind of on that question. The TU have organised this forum today because we think that students, like as we've spoken about today, we found out about SSAF quite late and there were a lot of questions that were being directed at the TU that were for the university. If we continue with our efforts with the survey and to speak to students about what they want to see SSAF spent on, is there a way that, like how do we communicate these to the university and how do we know that all our efforts won't be in vain, I guess, that they'll be listened to?
We're working with the university to see if our survey can actually go to the students.
Can we work with someone, like in a, I'm sure there's committees and things like that at the moment, it's all paid, listen, talk on Facebook, but how do we actually know the university listens?
But the key point is that TU is the peak body. So we would work with and listen to what the people on our committees from the TU are actually telling us. That is the way.
All right, once again, thank you to Elise and the SRC South for putting this together. So thank you, Sadler, for coming.